welcome to another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. I am your host, 12 Kyle. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. This is the Rap Soul Podcast. This is the intersection where we have discussions about artists and music from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. This is the best music podcast that you've never heard until right now. So again, I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. On this episode, what I want to talk about is I've compiled a list, my personal favorite, what I call the best R&B duets from the 80s. As I was listening to some R&B music the other day, it came upon me that, R&B music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s is totally different from the R&B of today. Some would say that it's gotten worse. Some will say that R&B today doesn't exist. I don't believe that at all. Today's R&B is just different. It's not the same. One of the things that we don't have now that we used to have very prevalent back in the day were duets. And that was, a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or a man and a woman singing an R&B duet. So I've compiled a list, and this came at the time of this recording, the same day that we tragically lost singer Roberta Flack. Roberta Flack recently passed away at the age of 88. She lived a long, prosperous life. Unfortunately, she passed away. I think she had dementia. No, I'm sorry. She had ALS. But prayers and condolences to Roberta Flack's family, her friends, and her fans. She will sorely be missed, but she contributed a lot to R&B. And she was one of the voices that I remember hearing as I grew up in my house. And as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, I was in a household that constantly played music, and Roberta Flack did get some play in my house. So yeah, this episode is dedicated to Roberta Flack and all of the fallen soldiers that we've lost in the R&B and music world. But before we get started on this list that I've compiled, again, and they're in no particular order, let me give an honorable mention to a R&B duet from the 70s, Peaches and Herb and their song Reunited. I used to hear that one all the time, Peaches and Herb. And I think there were many years that I would hear that song, and that song went on without me knowing what either of them looked like. It wasn't probably until the late 80s that I saw what Peaches and Herb looked like. But yeah, that was the honorable mention from the 70s. Now in the 60s, I do have some honorable mentions from the 60s and the 70s as well. The aforementioned Roberta Flack, The Closer I Get to You, with Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. That is the quintessential love song, I think. Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway made some great music. Of course, they had another duet, Where Is the Love, which was another smash as well. But The Closer I Get to You was one of those songs that was made back in the day, but you really could apply the lyrics to right now. And I go back and forth which verse is that I like the most. I love hearing the late Donny Hathaway, but Roberta Flack, she definitely delivered as well. And so that song kind of spawned, and Roberta Flack's passing kind of spawned this, the idea for this episode. Other honorable mentions from the 70s, You Don't Have to Be a Star, Marilyn McCoo, and Billy Davis. I remember Marilyn McCoo as I grew up because she was on, what was that show? I think it was Star Search? I think it was Star Search. I think. I can't remember, but it was one of those shows where she contributed, and I think it was a judge. And Billy Davis is her husband. But yeah, You Don't Have to Be a Star was another smash song back in the day. And of course, when you think about R&B duets, and you talk about the 60s, I don't think you can go far without reminiscing about the late, great Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. They had hit songs like Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, and You're All That I Need to Get By. Those, just to name a few, were my honorable mention for the R&B duets. Again, I didn't want to delve into the 70s or the 60s, but I would be remiss if I did not mention those honorable mentions. Also, there's a 80s honorable mention that I'm going to mention, and it's All Cried Out by Lisa and Cult Jam and Full Force. I don't really count this as a duet because Lisa is actually singing with Full Force, which is Paul Anthony and Bow-Legged Lou. But if you want to count it as a duet, it is a smash. I think that was like 85. Love this song. All Cried Out. Got a lot of dedications in the dedication hour back in the day. Okay, so here's my list. And again, they're in no particular order. I'll give you half of the list, and then we'll move to a commercial, and then move to the second half of the list as well. So first up, On My Own, Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald. Man, listen, my mom is and was and still is a huge Patti LaBelle fan. So Patti got a lot of play in my house all the time. My mom had all of her records, and I do specifically remember hearing this song a lot because, one, it's a beautiful song, but it talks about a separation, and my parents got divorced, and my mom, and I don't know if it was conscious or subconsciously, this song got a lot of play in my house. More specifically after my parents split, but and I don't know if it was something subliminal or something she even thought about, but it's a jam, and it's one that I never get tired of hearing of. And I think that was like probably one of the first times that I can remember hearing Michael McDonald, Blue Eyed Soul, and then solely became a fan of his music shortly after that as well. Next up, Endless Love, Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. I can make a case that this is one of the greatest R&B duets ever. I can make the case. What can I say about this song? I mean, one, you have two of the biggest powerhouses in R&B in Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. Diana Ross, obviously formerly of the Supremes, Lionel Richie, formerly of the Commodores. If you know anything about R&B music, you know about this song. This song is timeless. I mean, like, when it comes on, you know exactly what it is. It's a song that will consistently get airplay on the radio, for those of you who still listen to the radio. But it was one that I think, you know, even as a young kid, I gravitated to because it's such a beautiful song, and it still resonates to this day. So yeah, shout out to Lionel Richie and Diana Ross, Endless Love. The next one, Tonight I Celebrate My Love, with Peabo Bryson and the aforementioned Roberta Flack. Roberta Flack had a lot of bangers. This duet is a smoker. I really loved her. I mean, Roberta Flack has one of those voices that is very comforting. And so when you pair her with the great Peabo Bryson, this song is crazy. It's a song that I still play to this day. And one of the things that I would suggest to many of you, particularly if you love this particular episode, is create a playlist of these songs, because these songs should be on your Get the Slow Jams, Get the Draws tape. These songs should be on your Quiet Storm, Ride Around mixtape, whatever you want, wherever you want to play it, it should be there. But yeah, I love that song. Next up, Ebony Eyes, Rick James and Smokey Robinson. Listen, Smokey Robinson, I think it goes without saying, is one of the greatest songwriters we've ever seen in any musical genre, period, point blank, right? And to pair him with the legend, the funk legend, Rick James on this one was incredible. The interesting thing about this one is that you have two men singing. And I remember the video. The video, they were on a beach and Rick was just singing his heart out. Rick was singing his heart out. I, as someone who grew up in the 80s and was a fan of Rick James, this was a smoker for me. I just loved it. And I still do to this day. I grew, as I grew older, I grew to appreciate Smokey Robinson's music. But this collaboration here was incredible. Next up, how do you keep the music playing? Patty Austin and James Ingram, the late James Ingram. Man, this one right here initially was a sleeper for me, but this song is so smooth. Patty Austin is now don't get it twisted too. Check out Patty. Patty Austin was kind of fly back in the day. I ain't gonna say kind of. Patty Austin was fly back in the day, and James Ingram had one of the smoothest R&B voices that you would ever want to hear. And passed away a couple of years ago. But Patty Austin, the two of them made a great collaboration, I think, and this song is a beautiful song. If you have not heard this one, please, ma'am, please, sir, do yourself a favor and go check this song out when you finish listening to this podcast, because this song is incredible. The next song is going to speed it up a little bit. Just because you have a duet doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a slow song. The next song, Saturday Love, Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal. Listen, this song, even to this day, if you're at a club, if you're at a bar, if you're at a lounge, and if this song comes on, there's a segment of people, when it comes on, they know every single word. The DJ can turn the music off and they're going to sing it loud and proud. What can I say? I mean, personally, I used to have like a crush on Sherelle because I thought she was so cute, even though she's way older than me. But yeah, man, Saturday Love, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday Love. And it's funny because like I got a homegirl and she mentioned to me, or actually she brought this to my attention a couple of years ago. There was, I think it was it BET? I think it was like BET. There was a performance. It was like some type of show, and it was they allowed Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal to perform the song. And Alexander came out there, and I think Alexander was he was missing a couple of teeth or whatever, but he was out there singing. And so like when my homegirl sent this to me, we laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. I'm not gonna say her name and embarrass her, but you know who you are. So, but yeah, I still love this song. And this song still goes to this day. Next song. I think this one was slept on, even though it is sung by two powerhouse singers. Hold Me, Teddy Pendergrass and Whitney Houston. I think this was on Whitney's second album. I can't remember, and I don't have the research. I didn't look it up, so sue me. But listen, Whitney Houston and Teddy P, man, you can't ask for a better collaboration right there. Whitney's voice, I think, and I think it goes without saying, just personally for me, I think Whitney Houston probably has the most powerful voice that we heard in the 80s and the 90s. You could make a case that she's probably the second most powerful voice behind Aretha Franklin. And if you put her above Aretha Franklin, I ain't mad at you. But when I say could sing your face off, she could sing her face off. Yeah, this song right here still goes to this day. I don't know how they collaborated with this one, but this song is still a dope song. Definitely one you need to have on your tape. Check that one out. Hold Me by Teddy P and Whitney Houston. This next one was recorded by two quote unquote kids, if you will, who were a little bit older than me at the time that it came out. And that was Where Do We Go From Here Stacey Lattisaw and Johnny Gill. I had never heard of Johnny Gill. In fact, what was interesting was when this song came out, they mentioned how old he was. I think he was like 17 or 18. And I was like, man, this dude, because he sounded like a grown man. And conversely, I could say the same about Stacey Lattisaw. She sounded like a grown woman. And then when you saw the video, or you saw them perform together, they were like 15, 16 years old. I don't know their actual ages, but they were relatively young when the song was completed and put out. And I think at some point, legend has it that they dated. And that lasted like a couple of years or whatever like that. But yeah, man, where do we go from here? Still bangs to this day. Still bangs to this day. The next song, very special. Deborah Laws and Ronnie Laws. Man, listen, I remember this one. This one got so much play on the radio that it was ridiculous in my hometown of Florence, South Carolina. Deborah had a very distinct voice, and you could tell that she was at least she sounded younger. I don't know how old she was when she recorded this, but this song is a smoker, man. I love this song. I still love it to this day. There was a lot of samples later on where people sampled this song or what have you, but yeah, you can't go wrong with Very Special. The next one, this one came toward the back end of the 80s, and that was Love Makes Things Happen by Pebbles and Babyface. Now, if you're familiar with that time, you know that Babyface was he had left the deal, and he was starting LaFace Records with L.A. Reid, and Pebbles was one of his quote unquote proteges, and I think Pebbles may have been married to L.A. Reid at the time. But I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. I too had a crush on Pebbles as well, so maybe that's why I loved it as much as I did. But Love Makes Things Happen was a jam, man. It was a jam. And I love the fact that like this really helped Pebbles take off as far as an artist was concerned. Because Babyface, as I mentioned, he was a member of the group The Deal, and he, went solo or what have you. So he'd already had a name out there, but Pebbles was a new name and a new face. And a lot of people remember Mercedes Boy because that was the hit that she had in the up-tempo joint. But this duet, I think, was a dope one right there back in the mid to late 80s. The next song, Love Changes, Melissa Morgan and Kashif. I love this one. This song, man, this brings back a lot of memories because it was one of those songs that got played on the radio. And I don't really know if we knew as kids how big this song was. As many of you know, Kashif passed away some years ago, but this song, I think of all the songs that I've mentioned, I think this was probably the most slept on song. Next up, another one from the duet that we mentioned earlier. Never Knew Love Like This, Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal again. It's not rare. I can't say it's rare. It's not weird to see, couples who have had, or duos that have had great duets do it again. Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal just had a certain chemistry. From Saturday Love to Never Knew Love Like This. And this is a more up-tempo song, but still a great duet nonetheless. But yeah, this is one that still got a lot of airplay. I think at one point in time, I thought that they were together. I don't know that they ever were, but I just assumed that they were because they had such great chemistry. To my knowledge, I guess they're just close friends. But yeah, that is one that I still rock to this day. Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal's Never Knew Love Like This. Right now it's time to take a commercial break. On the other side of the break, I'll give you the rest of the duets, the great duets from the 80s. Sit tight. I'll be back in just a second. And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle. This is the Rap Soul Podcast. and we're talking about the best R&B duets from the 80s. Before the break, I gave you some, probably about 10 or 15, and I'll give you a few more before we get out of here. Next up, and again, these are in no particular order. This was, I want to say, like 89, from the one and only Keith Sweat and Jackie McGee. Make It Last Forever. Man, listen. Make It Last Forever is on every Slow Jams tape I ever made. I don't know anybody from my era that made a tape that didn't put this duet on it, because it is incredible. People can say what they want about Keith Sweat, but Keith Sweat did his thing on this song. And Jackie McGee held her own. This song is, it is a staple when you talk about duets, particularly from that particular period of time. And what I always found interesting about this duet is that they made sure that not only did it got airplay, but they did performances together. I think now, if you see Keith Sweat, you're going to get this song. Like, I don't know that you can go anywhere and see Keith Sweat perform live and perform his discography and you don't hear this. I mean, people will go crazy if Keith Sweat doesn't get this one off. A personal favorite of mine, probably one of my favorites of the ones that I've mentioned. And I love all of these songs, but this is like in the top 5. Yeah, Make It Last Forever. No, yeah, this top 5 is probably not. No, I would probably say it's my top 3. So yeah, Make It Last Forever. Another duo that we mentioned a little earlier, Patty Austin and James Ingram again. Baby Come to Me. Which, if you're familiar with the song, this song has been sampled, particularly out throughout hip hop, a gazillion times. Man, I just love this song. I just really, really love this song. And again, I thought Patty Austin was incredible. James Ingram had he just had such a smooth sound. Like, he was just smooth. I mean, I really can't say much more to describe him other than just a very smooth sound. And this song was very, very prevalent on the radio stations that I can remember coming up. Next up, I haven't mentioned him yet, but it's time. The king of pop, the king, if you will, Michael Jackson and Saida Garrett, I Just Can't Stop Loving You. Mike didn't do a whole bunch of duets when you think about it, relatively speaking, but this one right here, this was a smoker. I love Saida Garrett's. I love her voice on this song. Obviously, I would think that it would be somewhat intimidating to do a song with Michael Jackson. It wasn't for her. Not at all. It was not for her. She did a thing. I Just Can't Stop Loving You is still a banger to this day. And I want to say this was like 88, 89. So it was toward the back end of the decade, but still a gem nonetheless. Next up, two brothers, not brothers literally, but brothers, Luther Vandross and Gregory Hines. There's Nothing Better Than Love. Man, whew, what can I say about this one? This one is special. Luther's voice obviously is, I don't even know where you rank Luther. I mean, like, because Luther just he could do it all. Like, there's not much Luther Vandross could not do. And so to have this song, and this song was all over the charts. It was all over the radio. It got so much airplay. People loved it. And I was included in that group. So again, shout out to Luther and Gregory Hines. Next up, Renee and Angela's My First Love. This song right here is special. This was one of the ones that I constantly mention the dedication hour, when you could call up to your local radio station and dedicate a song to someone. This one got so many dedications that it wasn't even funny. And I remember because, like, Renee and Angela, Angela Winbush. I can't remember. I can't remember what Renee's last name is, but Renee is a guy, and so I remember hearing it on the radio for the first time, and they were like, "Yeah, that's My First Love" by Renee and Angela, and I was like, "Wait a minute, it was a guy and a girl just now. Why is it?" I didn't think a guy could be named Renee, so, but yeah, it wasn't, and that song is something else, man. It is. It was remade. I will say that, and the remake will appear on the best R&B duets from the '90s. I'll give you that hint. But yeah, love that song. Next up, Love Saw It, Karen White and Babyface. I think up until this point, I had not. I don't know that I knew who Karen White was. Incredible singer. Again, Babyface was an incredible singer and songwriter. But yeah, I love this one, man. I remember one of the things that I remember about this song was that I recorded it like 3 times off the radio. Shout out to those who used to record off the radio. And as I was making my tapes, what was interesting was the DJ kept talking over the record. I hated that. And you wanted to get the song at the beginning of the song, but like the DJ would always talk into the song. So you miss a couple of words at the beginning of the song. So for a long time I had it on my tape, but I had to cut it off because of course you don't want to hear nobody talking on your tape. So I didn't know like maybe the first 10 words of this song because there was always a DJ talking over it. And it wasn't until years later, because I never bought their tape. But yeah, Love Saw It, Karen White and Babyface. Incredible. Saida Garrett returns. And I think this joint was from like 1984. Dennis Edwards and Saida Garrett, Don't Look Any Further. Listen, this is a jam. And if you're familiar with the song, you obviously would hear the bass line and the music. And of course, that's been sampled a gazillion times and more probably noticeably by the late B.I.G., Notorious B.I.G. Love this song. Dennis Edwards, his voice is very, very strong. And Saida Garrett, I mean, I mentioned she's a beautiful lady and she could probably still sing her face off. So yeah, I love that joint. No surprise that it makes the list here. Next up, Tina Marie and Rick James, Fire and Desire. Listen, if you've been following the podcast, you know how I feel about Rick James. This song is one of my favorites of all the ones that I mentioned. This is definitely my top 5. Rick and Tina go back and forth and talking about, their love and their past. Rick, what's interesting about this song? Like Rick doesn't start singing until like this song is, it feels like the song is halfway through before he actually starts singing, but it's not. But man, this song is still cold to this day. Rick and Tina Marie, two other people who, Tina was his protege, but Rick, was somebody who, really put everything into his music. And for as big as he was, in Rick's mind, he still was underrated and he was still an underdog because he didn't feel like he got the same love as Prince and Michael Jackson. He felt he was just as talented. And of course, we all know Rick. A whole different generation knows Rick James from the Chappelle Show and the skits and stuff like that. But Rick James, listen, Rick James is a cold boy. For real, he was cold. Buffalo's finest. So shout out to Rick. Next up, again, the aforementioned Renee and Angela. You Don't Have to Cry. This one was all over the radio dedication hour. I just remember hearing this one. This one was on quite a few tapes that I made. And just for those of you listening, I did used to make tapes back in the day because that's how we listened to music. We didn't have Spotify and stuff like that, and we didn't have YouTube. So you had to, if you didn't buy the tape, you had to tape songs off the radio and make a tape. So I made quite a few tapes. And You Don't Have to Cry was on a lot of them. Next up, a little bit more. Melba Moore and Freddie Jackson. Love this song. Love it, love it, love it. My favorite memory from this song is going to a dance. I went to a middle school dance, and this song came on, and the girl that I was dancing with, who happened to be my girlfriend, we started kissing. And it was at that moment where young, fresh 12 Kyle got his first kiss. Actually, not my first kiss. My first kiss was like when I was like 6, but that don't count. My first, kiss. You know what I mean? Where you're exchanging saliva. And I remember putting my hands on her butt, and then like a teacher came and moved my hands off her butt. But yeah, I love this. This song will always hold that memory. Always hold that memory. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Shout out to Freddie Jackson and Melba Moore. Y'all helped your boy get there. So yeah, that's a great memory. Next up, the aforementioned Stacey Lattisaw and Johnny Gill are back with Perfect Combination. Yeah, man, this one, another one. Like I said, Stacey Lattisaw and Johnny Gill were powerful. They were powerful. I think it helped. It didn't hurt the fact that we thought they were dating. We probably thought they were dating before they were dating. But the thing that really resonated with me was that, like I said, how their sound was. They were young people, but they sounded so much older than what they really were. So that stood out to me. And last but not least, I know probably many of you are probably thinking, oh, well, he didn't name that song. I didn't forget. This was probably number one for me, so I left it as last. If This World Were Mine, Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn. I don't know that there's a better R&B duet from the 80s than this song. I'm not going to argue with anybody, but I think this one is right there. And one of the things that I love about this song, even to this day in 2025, with it being sampled by Kendrick Lamar on Kendrick Lamar's most recent album, and being titled Luther, this song and the sample introduces Luther and Cheryl Lynn in this particular song to a generation of people who may not have ever heard of the song before, or maybe, just maybe, never heard of Luther before. And so shout out to K-Dot for that. But this song right here is the quintessential love song, love R&B duet. I love it. I love Cheryl Lynn. I love their chemistry together on this particular song. There's really not much I could say about this song that you don't already know. This song is a smoker. It is one of those songs that a love song that will constantly, it's obviously Luther's no longer here, so it's going to outlive both of them. Cheryl Lynn's still with us. But it's one of those joints, man, that will forever get played. It will forever be in your memory. It'll forever be in your heart. If they're still doing dedication hours on radio, it's still being dedicated. But yeah, I had to save the best for last, if you will. But I love this song. I love this song. And it's one of those joints that when I heard it on Kendrick Lamar's album, my first reaction was, oh, like you really do. You really can have a certain appreciation for an artist when they go back in the time and they bring back the past and they bring the past to today. And I think that was huge for Kendrick. And like I said, I'm glad that it's getting its exposure and, giving kids who may not have ever heard of him or Cheryl Lynn a chance. And plus, with the success of the album and success of that particular song, some royalties are going to go to the estate of Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn, and you can't be mad at that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, you just did the 80s. Well, yeah, I was only going to do the 80s, but if you come back On the next episode, we will have the best R&B duets from the 90s. So check back with us next week. Again, that's going to do it for me. I'm your boy 12 Kyle. Again, this has been another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. The podcast is everywhere. It's right where you're listening right now. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching on YouTube. You can check us out there. Download, subscribe, share it with someone who else just like you who are a music fan. We're also on social media. We're on Twitter X, Blue Sky, Threads. What else? We're somewhere, everywhere. Threads, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. Rap Soul Podcast across the board. Also, if you want to contribute to us financially, you can hit us up on Cash App, $ TWELVEKYLE. And don't forget about the mothership station. That would be the 12 Kyle Podcast. We drop new episodes on the 12 Kyle Podcast every Thursday and every Sunday at midnight. So download and subscribe there. You can find that wherever you're finding and listening to this one as well. Again, this has been another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast, the place where there's intersection of discussion about artists, music from the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Again, this is the best music podcast that you have heard. Pass the word. Again, I'm your boy 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Cheers.